because we're kind of just blabbing offline, aren't we? We could talk about this all on the internet. We're just
That's
talking
true.
hobby.
Ruin the full podcast.
Yeah, we'll just do the podcast before the show. Okay, so we're live. Welcome everybody who has joined us. We've got quite a few of you in the chat already, and I'm going to start from the beginning and go through some names, and then we're going to go into the actual show, which is we've got Chapter Master Valrak with us.
Hello.
And we haven't got his face because very much like the Emperor, we don't know if Valrak is actually the Emperor returned. If anybody actually saw his face, you'd probably have to go and burn your eyes out, or wash them in bleach or something, and we don't want to impose that on our viewers. So we've got a nice representation of Valrak on screen instead.
Do you know what the funny thing is? Everyone says, "Oh, Valrak, show your face," and my face is actually on Facebook. But the thing is, I don't put my webcam up in my office on my face because I haven't. Well, normally I have my kids running around. I don't really want like children jumping around behind me, so I tend to just point it down at my desk.
It's safer to not have the face.
That way they can't hunt me.
Well, we've got on the forum, we've only had, I think it was Reaper, who's left a question on there. But if anybody wants to leave some questions, put at WargamerOnline with a question to Valrak or myself, and we'll go through those questions as well. Obviously, I'm going to go from the top, go down to the bottom, and we'll try and catch as many as possible. I've got a bunch of questions that I want to ask Valrak myself anyway, so we'll go through those. And we're just probably going to spend an hour. We're going to aim for an hour and just talk hobby, as much hobby as possible, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty relaxed, and we'll start at the beginning. So we've had Daryl. Actually, you know what? Reaper was one of the first. It must have skipped some of this chat.
Surprised Reaper hasn't worn himself out. He's been here for like 4 hours waiting for the stream.
How many coffees do you think he's had?
Too much.
So we've got Daryl, we've got Marty Milligan, we have Reaper. And we'll see if there's any questions. I think everyone's just chatting to themselves here. Surreal, welcome Surreal. Good to see you here. Oh, we've got a donation. We've got a donation pop up. Oh my days, how do I see this? Common Astartes with Zeal and Fury, Hail Chapter Master Valrak, and now it's just disappeared. I'm going to have to stop the stream just to see that. Is that one of yours? Carmen Astartes. I
have no idea. Is Vicious here? He's normally my banker when I stream. he slings everything at me.
Okay, so they put with Zeal and Fury, Hail Chapter Master Valrak, Purger of Heretics, and Master of Team Kills. I have heard a lot about this team killing.
I do. I'm sorry about this. Friend or foe, everyone gets in my way. I just purge him.
It's just plasma time, is it?
It is. It's plasma time. You can't really blame me. It's a plasma cannon's fault, not my fault. I just fire it and it decides.
Okay. We have. You know what? There's just loads of chat there. We've got Liam in the chat. Loads of chat. Ralph Hamill as well. Welcome, Ralph. It looks like he started doing Amit's job, liking and subscribing. We're probably going to have to get Ralph and Coleman as administrators on the YouTube channel as well. I know you've got an army of administrators, haven't you?
Yes, I do. Well, with my YouTube chat, there's normally the same faces I normally see in and out, so I trust those few people.
Yeah.
With monitoring it.
We've got the Fomorian. It's a while since I've seen the Fomorian. Welcome back. And Vicious is in the house tonight with a very shocked face by the look of it. Bernard Miller. Marcus Hackmeister. Farseer Valrak is here.
Farseer Valrak, of course.
Graham Rigg. Furious George. Wonder if we've got an update on the Salt story. We'll have to check. Gungazam. Well, Cynthia Sneed or Sned. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Cynthia was actually saying about Walking Dead. I don't want to do spoilers or anything, but it's getting pretty dull. I don't know if you watch Walking Dead at the moment.
I watched like the first and second season, then I thought to myself, how do these zombies catch up with these people when they're running full sprint? And these zombies are walking, and it's like, this doesn't make sense. I'm leaving this show. And that was it then. I haven't got back to it. I know there's something like a prison or something happened, and then someone got kidnapped or something. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
That's a good enough point. They are zombies. They should be slow. And they're just too fast. People do seem to just get caught out, don't they? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're running through a forest, and then next minute the zombie that was chasing was behind the tree that was in front of them. I'm like, what? What's going on?
And everyone trips at the perfect moment.
The human race is just a trip. That's all it is in that show. No wonder we got wiped out by zombies.
Death by trip. That should be on a lot of people's gravestones. Right, what else do we have? Ray Minto, welcome Ray. Data Wargaming, saying Valrak, question mark.
Ah, Data Wargaming, yes. He's a nice guy. He's always messaging me on Facebook about EC.
Okay, that's good. And my chats. Does the chat do this to you, where you just scroll down and then it just suddenly cuts down like most of the page?
Yes, I do. Well, to be fair, I don't normally scroll up it. I just let it go. I normally miss a lot of people's conversations, not in a bad way, like I do on purpose. I just can't afford to, when I'm gaming, to scroll up and then scroll back down. It's just, I just end up dying all the time.
No, that's fair enough. Scott Bile is here as well. Hello, Sam and Chapter Master Valrak. Reaper, does Valrak want his relics back from the last raid?
Oh, God, it's always taught me about my relics.
Well, he's a blood raven. It's got to be.
Yeah, it probably is.
A surreal who killed Tupac. That's not really a question I can answer. Although we could have a guess.
Debate it for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Go deep down the rabbit hole.
Phil says, does Valrak have a beard?
I actually used to have a beard, but then my girlfriend was like, I don't like this because every time you kiss me, I get a rash around my mouth. So I was like, okay, then I better shave this. So that was it. That was the end of my Fenris days. It was over.
Bernard Miller says, I am going Tyrannid. That's, we'll have to see some updates on that because it's been a lot of Death Guard for a while, so Tyranids will be interesting. Pink's here as well. Welcome, Pink. Gungazam. Wow, doesn't even remember Carmen, your most frequent donator.
Was it Cayman Astartes who donated?
Carmen. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, he's awesome. He's always donating on my stream. he just randomly pops up at like just a weird time. It's like donations. Like, oh, thanks, Cayman. Cayman's here. And he always leaves like a nice little message. Yes. Without these guys, my Primarchs army would be nothing. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, he's donated again. It's fine. It's not like I'm a frequent donator on his stream. Carmen, who's that? I like how he's donated again just to get that pop up, so you couldn't avoid it that time. It's like, there we go.
There you go, David. I'm sure they're thankful for that, and I'm thankful for you as well. You're awesome. Right. It's actually strange for me actually doing this. Like, I don't really get to interact with the chat as much as I'd like to do, because when you game, you have to really focus on actually playing the game. But when I've been doing these painting streams, I've actually been enjoying them a bit more because I can actually read the chat and speak to people, and it's really, really nice when just interacting with people.
Yeah, you can chill out.
I think I find that the best.
Dave Carton's here as well, and Pickle Rick's here. Greeting minions of Valrak.
Pickle Rick.
That's my friend, Pickle Rick, I think. Play on Xbox with him. I think it is anyway, unless somebody else is called Pickle Rick as well.
I know a lot of people call Pickle Rick since that episode aired. Everyone's nearly Pickle Rick on my Steam friends list now. It's like Pickle Rick this, Pickle Rick that.
We were on Ark, and I think the day afterwards, everybody's name was Pickle Rick this, or Rick that, or Rick Sanchez, and there was a tribe named Pickle Rick, and there was a dinosaur called Pickle Rick, and it was just, it was surreal.
The Ricks.
Yeah. Just
like the show, everyone's a Rick.
Sam, you think... Oh, we've got another donation. See, that's popped up as well. This is from Vicious Fishers. Huzzah for Valrak.
That's a super chat, is it? Yeah,
super chat. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the chat. I like super chats because I actually see them a bit better.
Yeah, it's popped up in a nice bright blue.
Yeah, it normally stays at the top of the chat as well. Yeah, it stays at the top of the chat.
And it's just dinging through. In case you do miss it. Like 30 seconds later, it's like Streamlabs decides to catch up.
Well, you need the Zeal and Fury soundbite to pop up on the stream. Zeal and Fury. That's why I have. That's why I know I get a donation. I just get that ringing in my ears. It's like, okay.
I need that. You need to teach me how to do that.
Okay, I'll do it.
Gungazam, who's the better Sam here?
Yeah, because we're both called Sam. Which is kind of confusing because when you say Sam, I'm thinking, are they saying, did they mean me or did they mean Valrak? I'm confused.
Normally, if they're talking about me, saltiness has to start with that sort of, salty Sam or Sam salty or something like that. So let's just assume they're talking about you. And then Pink has put, Sam, you think people shouldn't get caught by zombies, but then again, you shouldn't have to put hot contents warning on coffee cups. No, you shouldn't. And this is true. And this is why the world would probably just disappear if a zombie outbreak happens. Only the 1% with...
If a zombie outbreak happened, I would just go into my house and just cut the stairs in half and just wait it out. I think that's probably the best method. I've actually planned this. Is just cut my stairs off at the top and just put everything upstairs. And I think I'd survive.
What happens when people come though?
I just hide. I'm not here.
And they'll look at the stairs and go, "Nah, not worth it," and then just go back out.
Yep. I know I would do if I was a survivalist. I saw a non-stair house. I'd just say, no, it's not for me. This. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, so
else.
Bernard Miller has said, "Who's the dude on the left?" The dude on the left is a picture of Valrak. So Valrak's, if you, I haven't even put it in the description, like an absolute tool. We'll put a link in the description, but type in Chapter Master Valrak on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and it will come up with Chapter Master Valrak's channel, Facebook page, or have you got Twitter and Twitch as well already?
I've got everything.
Everything. You've got all the social media.
I've got everything. Everything.
So check that out. What you do. Let's start. That's a good point to jump in. So I'll try and make a note of where we're up to. I think I've caught up with most things. Vicious. I would just pay the zombies to sod off.
Yep.
Frost and Fist.
Probably work as well.
Probably would. Homish one's here as well. So let's start with yourself, because I know you have been in the chat before, but what is it that you do on YouTube? What is your channel all about?
When I started off, it was primarily just me playing Warhammer games. But over the past year, the games I've really been playing haven't lived up to what they were supposed to be. Eternal Crusade wasn't a big of a hit as I thought it would be. I actually more or less based my full channel on hoping Eternal Crusade would be a pretty big game, but that didn't turn out too well. So I just thought maybe I'd just branch out and play all Warhammer games. And some games are pretty cool, like Battlefleet Gothic. I really enjoyed that. I did like a Let's Play with that. But this is when I was only really small, where I was only getting like 1,000 views max, like on a video, and like when I was live streaming I was getting like 4 or 5 people in that max and stuff like that. And then I think the really big break came from Space Hulk Deathwing, because I did like a let's play. I won't call it a let's play, like a first look, because the developers actually messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to show off the game?" So I said, "Okay, sure." And I just put a video out, and I got like 250,000 views of like the first 2 weeks, and I went from like 4,000 subscribers to like 12,000 plus. And it's like, okay, this may be pretty cool for me. And then ever since then, it's just gone on from there. But recently, I've actually been reading more. Jumping back into the tabletop since 8th edition launched. I've always wanted to jump into tabletop. I've always collected models, but I've never played the tabletop. I found it in my position a bit too hard to do, because I tried to play 7th edition one time, and it was like I needed like 3 or 4 books for the army I wanted. So with the rumours of 8th edition coming out anyway, like later that year, I thought I'd just hang back and just wait. And 8th edition did drop. And I got 8th edition, and then I've really been focusing doing more the lore side of 8th edition, like the changes and stuff. And I've been collecting the models. I'm sure people who frequently visit my channel have noticed that I've got an Executioner army being built, and I tend to put videos out of that now and then. And of course, I've been doing like painting streams and assembly streams as well, which I've really enjoyed doing.
Nice,
yeah.
I've been most of the times I've caught your streams, your live stuff, it pops up, and I see the Eternal Crusade being played. So I've generally seen you running around with a plasma cannon, and that's about it. But I've been meaning to catch you when you've been doing the hobby hangout chats, so you can I can just sit and do some painting while listening to you chat away about hobby stuff as well. So I'm gonna definitely join one of your live streams when you're doing that soon.
I think, like I was just saying to you, like before we started, I've really more or less enjoyed painting on the stream and just speaking to people. I find it a lot. It's more calm, because when I end up playing Eternal Crusade, I do end up getting quite mad at some of the players that are on my team. Sometimes it's like, You guys. I'm not allowed to swear, so I'll just say you guys.
Hey, you guys. We have got, while you were talking, we've got another donation from Carmen again. So, and Echo's just subscribed. So he's put,
That's what he does.
Sorry, I like donating. You don't have to be sorry about that. It keeps everything going on this channel, so we appreciate it massively. But his message was, relocate to Hawaii in case of a zombie outbreak. There's no nuclear power plants, limited zombies, and multiple areas for fields and military bases with weapons. So I think that must be a plan that's been thought about for a while now. And he's just donated to let everybody know his plan. So you're going to have to come up with a new one now and not tell the world.
Yeah, he tends to do that. He tends to tell everything what is going on in his daily life through donations, which I'm thankful for. I think it's awesome. I love Cayman. He just jumps up randomly and just posts something. I more or less end up reading his donation chats more than I'm paying attention to the game I'm playing. Like, what's he saying? Sometimes it just does like big long sentences and stuff. Okay, better read this.
Carmen's put, he gets so mad he kills them, so that must be team. And then Pink's put, getting mad at your own team sounds like you have loads in common with WargamerOnline Sam. So maybe we do. Maybe we'd just be trying to shoot each other the whole time.
We probably would. Probably would. Just plasma cannon and everything. Everyone dies on our team.
No, that's fine. That's not a problem. Need 45 sponsors to win that hoodie. That's somebody trying to be a sponsor on your channel as well, I think.
Oh no, it's Gung. What I tend to do, like every landmark, I think it was like 25, then 35, then 45. The 35 one we just hit, where I did like a custom T-shirt giveaway with like a logo and stuff like that. And Gung wanted it more than anyone, and he lost to another sponsor. And the said sponsor who he lost it to changed his name to T-shirt bearer just to rub it in a bit more on him. And
because there's nothing like being part of a community and then rubbing it in.
Yeah, of course.
That's probably more fun. He probably didn't even need it. He probably could have sent the T-shirt his way instead, but never mind.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Actually, I was just saying that the actual T-shirt arrived at my my house today, and I'm going to actually send it off tomorrow to Australia, because that's where the guy lives who won it. So that'll be being sent to Mr. Doomrock if he's even watching.
I haven't seen them yet, but maybe they'll pop up. Terrace has just joined, saying one word Valrak, Space Wolf. I don't know if that must mean something to you.
I'm not too sure. We're
going to get another donation pop up in a minute, telling you that you forgot me as well. You always forget me. Coleman's joined. Welcome, Coleman. That's another one of our admin on the forum. Furious George, if there's a zombie outbreak, come to New Zealand. Nothing but hills and sheep and more sheep. I would love to go to New Zealand. That's like one of the places in the world that I would love to go. Oh, and Echo 220 has just donated. Here's $2. Buy some candy or something. I've had
Echo's
too much.
Cool as well. Yeah, I know Echo. Echo's a regular on my stream as well. He's always donating like $1, and it's normally that. Buy candy.
Buy some candy. Buy a piece of candy.
Yeah.
And Carmen's just subscribed. Thank you for subscribing, Carmen. This
awesome.
This channel's got. I mean, we've got some stuff which is in like similarity. I don't play the video games too much over here, but we have got a lot like these live shows. We do tutorials, we do battle reports when we get time to do them, and unboxings and stuff like that. So you're more than welcome to join us. So thank you for pressing that red button. Right, let's do some questions, because we've been going for 20 minutes and we haven't really done much in terms of questions.
Okay.
We'll start with Reapers, because it's the only one on the forum. Then we'll switch to the ones that I've got. And we have... So he says, what is better, lots of turrets or bigger fortifications?
For me, as an Imperial Fist, I'd say fortifications. Like, you gotta love a big wall to stand on and shoot things down from. That's my viewpoint. Always the wall, never the gun. Remember that.
It's just difficult placing them in games. I mean, generally, you'll have quite a spread out board, but putting down certain pieces of fortifications tends to be difficult.
Yeah. Well, for me, I haven't really got access to have my own board in my house or anything like that. So when I do play, it's always at Warhammer World with my friends who I meet. So we've actually got decent sized boards at Warhammer World, so I can always try and set something up to my liking.
And you can just kind of slide everything off your side of the table into the middle and then just place your fortification anyway and just be like, whatever. I paid for my fortification, it's going down, you can't stop me. That's the other option. I know we did have Steve, who when we were playing the Heresy campaign, he was playing Imperial Fist as well, and I think he bought at least 2 or 3 fortifications, and it was the same sort of thing. It was like, I'll put down this big bunker, and it's like struggling to place it anywhere. But because he was Imperial Fists, he was allowed to, because it was fluffy to do that.
Yeah, well, the actual game I had on the weekend, it was 2 versus 2. It was 4K each, and the person who I was supposed to be on my team, who I built we built each other's armies to reflect each other, to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
And he got stuck in the snow, so it was just me with Primarchs, and I was against Tau, who spammed drones, and another Space Marine player who had Primarchs and all relic Sicarians, Knights, Dreadnoughts, and they just swarmed me. I just couldn't do anything. I actually had a fortification in that, but it didn't help me at all. I just got absolutely obliterated. I couldn't hold them down. I was supposed to have the Imperial Guard guy, who was my ally. He was going to be the meat shield to soak everything up, and he had like Punisher tanks. And if I remember right, their rule is if they're like half range, if you use a certain tactic, they get to fire twice.
Yeah.
So we were hoping that he could clean up, and then I just go after the big units. And I actually did do well against the big units, but just too many troops just to go against. I just got.
How did the new big Primaris tank do, the Asteris?
It did really, really well. How much points was it? I think it was, with the setup I did, I think it was just over 700, nearly hitting 800 points.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually got to go first. And from what I've learned in 8th edition, like I'm not a pro player or anything like that, but I always find that the person who goes first tends to end up winning most of the time. And I actually got to go first, and the first round I took out a full knight, took out his knight, and I put more than half of the wounds on I think it was a relic Sicarian tank, and my Hellblasters finished it off that turn, and we did have a bit of damage. But like I said, they just had too many ground troops just surrounding me. But it never got a wound on it at all, which is good.
It's quite like you're saying. If you go first, it can be really crippling. Like if you've got shooting in the enemy, they just get obliterated. If you're a combat army, then obviously it's not going to be as impactful going first. But any sort of shooting chucked in there, it will just decimate. And with the fact that cover doesn't do anywhere near as much as it did in the past with bigger units, you can just destroy those big knights and the heavy tanks so much faster than you used to be able to.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised how well it performed. Like I've never really been really like tactically wise into 40k. I'm not one of these people who just like sit down and go over list. I tend to do my list based on lore. That's why I think I lose 9 out of 10 games. But I tend to try and do it on lore. Like, okay, I'll have a chapter master and he'll have a little honor guard or something cool like that. But when I took the tank, I was really, really impressed with it. Like I didn't move it where I put it on the table, because we played on one of the biggest tables in there, and I think the range was 72 inches, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
With its main gun. So it really never moved all game. It just sat there and just fired. And it's pretty good.
I need to pick one up for my Primaris. The repulsor just really was difficult for me to paint. I was doing so much edge highlighting on it, and I've got a second repulsor to do, and then the thought of doing the Asteris tank is just crippling.
Yeah, well, I really, really enjoyed doing the Asteris tank. I know a lot of people said Forge World can be sometimes a nightmare if you get big kits. Now, I've never really got the biggest kit I think I ever got from there was a Leviathan, and I don't really call that big at all. So when I got this, I was like, okay, this may be a bit daunting, but it wasn't. It was really, really simple to fit together. It all just slotted in. There was no warping or anything like that on it at all, so I was really impressed. I did have a couple of bits missing from it, the Void Shield generators, but I messaged Forge World and they were like, sorry, mate, and they sent them out like 4 days later. So
they're normally pretty good in terms of customer service. They just replace everything. Yeah. And you can't really fault customer service from Forge World, and that's probably why they're not. I mean, I've never bothered ringing. I always end up just covering the gaps and things, and with the warping, I just try and fix. But that's because I can't be bothered to wait for stuff to arrive. You know, when you get in the mood just to build something,
you just want to get it out, don't you?
Yeah, and you're like, oh, there's a mistake. I can wait for a couple of days, or I can just, stick with it. Just realised this isn't Valrak Stream Heresy. That's from Krylich.
I think the name gives it away.
Yeah. Echo is saying, I have a question for Valrak. Are Eldar OP?
In what sense? In Eternal Crusade, definitely. Tabletop, I wouldn't really know, but when I was at Warhammer World that Sunday, I sort of mentioned to you there was a tournament.
Yeah.
And the top player was an Eldar player, and like everyone like in the top 10 was either Eldar or Thousand Sons. And me and my friends who were playing that day were actually laughing because everyone in the tournament who had a Thousand Sons list had a Magnus in their army.
Yeah,
and it was just Magnus versus Magnus. That's all we're witnessing at Warhammer World. It's quite fun.
It does show the state of the game. It is the Primarchs that are kind of pushing everything forwards at the moment.
Yeah, hopefully more soon. I'm a huge Primarch fan.
Your channel is, I mean, in terms of content wise, you kind of cover Primarchs, don't you?
I love it. I just love Primarchs. I think this is one of the things that converted me from 30k to 40k, was the Primarchs going back to 40k. Of course, 30k is when they were like, obviously everyone was going on back there, but I think the thing that interests me the most was their viewpoint coming back into the 40k setting, seeing how the Imperium is, and we actually got a bit of that with Gilliman when he awoke and some of the lines he was saying and stuff. I just love all the lore surrounding that, and that's what really sold me. I thought, okay, I'm gonna jump in, and I'm gonna go full on with this now.
I think it's in terms of the background, there's nothing better than Heresy for me in terms of stories, and the Primarchs is like a huge part of it. There's so much character to them, and I think you're right. When they came back into 40k, I've never been huge on 40k background. It's always been like, yeah, cool, Necrons, Tyranids, Tau, everyone's killing each other, whatever. But as soon as they brought the Primarchs into it, I was like, oh, here we go. This is actually something that I feel like I can get into again. And
yes, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing for it. And when they start bringing back Phoenix Lords, and you're going to have really cool models, and the Catan, and when every army has its big, massive Lord superior thing that comes into the game, it's going to be even better than it is now. So it can't be a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like you just said, it brought you back in. I think there was two things that brought me back in. Of course, the Primarchs, but I think how easy 8th edition was. Like, I was a complete new player, so I think 8th edition was aimed at someone like me. And when I picked it up, like, I'm still learning. Don't get me wrong, I am still learning the game and stuff. I'm not a master at it at all. I am still a bit of a newbie, but it was so easy for me to learn. Just get in there and just learn it all with all the new stuff, and it completely sold me, and it made me go out. And everyone saw my army. I've spent quite a lot of money on making an army now, so I think they've suckered someone like me into it. I won't say suckered, but they've sold the brand to me.
They've lured you in.
Yeah, they've lured me in,
and they've now got you.
Yep, they've got my soul.
Well, I was thinking like a goldfish bowl, but soul, you can go with that instead. They're just taking your soul. I think that's exactly what they wanted to do with it. Remove the barriers, bring as many people in as possible. And the rules are simple to learn, but they're actually quite difficult to master. It's probably the best way of doing it, making it easy to access. But then there is a lot of scope in terms of learning the details and the ins and outs. And the tournament players have still got a hell of a lot that they can do with it, rather than it being really simple all the time. So I think that's a good thing.
Well, I've never really been sold on tournament gameplays. I'm not saying they're bad or anything, but it's just never really sold me at all. I'm more of these people, like I said, I do my armies around lore, so I don't think I'd survive that much in a tournament setting. I just go to have a bit of fun, bit of social with friends, and that'll do me.
Yeah, it depends if you're playing in. I mean, there are tournaments and campaigns that you can join in which are lore based, and I know when we did a Heresy campaign at the store when I was working there, and it was based generally around fluff. So a lot of people had their legions that were based around that. And if somebody took something, like we had Luke, who played a lot of fantasy tournaments back when it was 8th edition, and he would turn up with an army like World Eaters and give everybody jump packs and bikes, and basically play a White Scar themed army and just say the World Eaters, because the rules for World Eaters suited him better. And it was like, we can definitely tell that is not a fluffy army. So it's easy to pick out when people are just pushing it a little bit.
I remember there's this game called Tabletop Simulator, and it's really good if you actually want to like make lists and try them out and stuff.
Yeah.
And over on my community, Vigila Mortis, we did like a tournament, and it was supposed to be a starter tournament, and then everyone bought like Magnus, and I was like, okay, this is not a starter tournament. This is not a starter tournament. I was just like getting obliterated like round 1 off Magnus, all his psychic powers. I was like, this is not fun.
Yeah. I'm going to try and read some of this chat, and we'll go back to another question. We've got Vicious Fishes saying, Valrak, it's not really a question, but Valrak is going to make a wall and make the Eldar pay for it. That sounds familiar.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Did you
That's
say
my
this?
EC saying? I did. I said in EC.
Wow, you're going to have to stick to it and, yeah, have a word with some of those Eldar. I don't always play. This is from Pink quoting you, I believe. I don't always play, but when I do, it's at Warhammer World.
That's true. That is true. I haven't played anywhere else but Warhammer World.
That's quite good. Krylich. So as Imperial Guard, you get 1 dude per square meter of the map you play on. I think Imperial Guard, you kind of stack bodies on top of bodies, so it's whatever you can fit vertically as well as horizontally for Guard. I think that's the rule. What else? Valrak. Any chance for one day play a game with Winter's SEO if would get schedule to fit? If you could get the schedule to fit. So would you want to play a game against Winter's SEO?
I've watched all their channels like Winters, Grim Resolve, Striking Scorpion. What's the other guy's called? I forgot his name now. With the guy who has Grotter, I forgot his bloody name. I don't. Tabletop Tactics. That's
yes.
It.
Yeah.
I love all their channels. If they want to invite me down and let them play, I'll warn them in advance. I'm not the best player.
Yeah.
But if they want me to come down, I'm for it. I'll play.
I think most games are generally like we especially try and do games which aren't a really powerful list versus another really powerful list. Try and make it as matched as possible so that it's fun on both sides, and it could go either way. So you'd be more than welcome to, if you ever want to come down to the West Midlands area and play a game, then we can use anything. We can do 2v2 as well. We're trying to do that. I've got my Primarchs, so we could team up and kill some elves, space elves, no problem at all.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll be down for that.
Or you could just keep up the Warhammer World statistics, and we just meet up at Warhammer World and play games there.
Yeah, that's good. I would love to film at Warhammer World. I know the mini wargaming guys got to do it.
Yeah,
and I wonder if I could send a cheeky email and ask him myself. Hopefully, I'd be able to get permission, but I don't think channel's big enough for that.
It's worth asking though. The worst they'll say is no. So
yeah, that's true. You're banned.
You're banned. Get out. You're never allowed back. You're like, no, my only place to play games.
That's it.
Sam paints at 1 millimeter an hour. I think that's bullying towards me, but because they've just said Sam and not Salty Sam, I'm going to say, sorry, Valrak, that's on you. I know that you don't paint that slowly. You paint fairly quick.
I do. The thing is that my army is not like a fancy army. Like yours is gorgeous. Mine's barely hitting tabletop standard, so I can get away with a lot of things because I tend to do my armies very how can I say it, damaged and like brutal, bashed up and stuff like that. So I can be very scruffy in some ways doing armies. So I can speed through some vehicles very fast, like tanks and stuff. I don't really have to do a lot of edge highlighting when I can just get some mud and just slap it on. It's like, okay, that looks better.
Yeah, they look. I mean, I'm looking at my Black Dragons, thinking, yeah, they look okay, but it's taking too long to paint them. And when you've got an army on the battlefield that's so pristine, it doesn't really look good. When you cover them in battle damage and they look like they've been in a battle, it looks better. So I'm almost tempted to switch to that style again and just cover everything in weathering powders and streaking grime from AK Interactive and go with that.
Awesome. I've never tried the AK Interactive stuff. Like I said, I brought it on Unreal, just got into the hobby, but I've heard a lot of good things about them, so I might have to check them out.
They're amazing.
They have a lot of good stuff.
All I needed, because they're enamels, you basically just cover the model in a gloss coat if you can, like a gloss varnish beforehand, but you put the streaking grime on it, and I use it almost as a wash. So I just cover the whole model in it once all the details have been picked out, and then you just use white spirit to remove it from the areas that you don't want it to be, and you can use cotton buds just to take off the majority and just streak it down where you want it to go, and it's a really fast way of making something look grimy and dirty and horrible.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of awesome videos on it. I think one of the things that interests me the most, or what I really get into, is airbrushing. I watched Phil's stream the other day on it because I thought, okay, this is pretty cool. And he gave me some really good pointers, but I'm just a bit scared of taking that leap at the moment. I don't think my skills there. I think what I'd like to do is maybe go to a class or something that do them and just learn. I'm one of these people that if someone sits next to me and shows me how to do something, then I'll know how to do it till the day I die. But if I'm reading it from a page or a form or something, my attention just divers.
Well, there's so many YouTube videos out there. You can whatever you want to do, type it in, and somebody will have done a video on it. So
yeah,
you're all good with the tutorials. Teros, is it true that first turn advantage is really big this edition? I think we did cover that a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, well, from my experience, I'm only a new player, so don't take my word 100% of it, but every game that I've had, and the person who has gone first has more or less won the game. Like 9 times out of 10, the person who's gone first has won that said game. It's only like when you've had like really brutal OP army, like the last 2 versus 2 I did, not the one that this Sunday, but the last one I think it was in October. The chaps who were fighting against started us saying they've got to bring Titans and stuff. So my friend bought 11 Vindicate Assassins, and they ended up didn't bring in any Titans. They just brought normal troops, and the game was over in like turn 3, and they got to go first. But that was their fault for taunting us, so that wasn't my fault. And the Assassins just completely went through their armor in like a hot knife through butter. And I think like the Assassins were like 78 points, and they were taking out like a 200-point army with just brutal efficiency.
Yeah, Assassins are insane. I think a lot of it comes down to the scenery that you're playing on as well, because if you've got a lot of line of sight covering terrain, those armies which are heavily shooting based won't wipe you out on the first turn. So I would generally, if you're going to be playing, a lot of people who play combat armies struggle because it's an open board. If you play a board which has got two pieces at least every square foot, is it? I think it's every square. I don't know. Basically every tile. I'm trying to think how big that is. 1 foot by 1 foot, 2 foot. How big are the boards? 6x4s or 4x4?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes. Yeah.
Decent, scenery spread out, and you'll survive as a combat army. I think once you get into combat with the armies now in 8th edition, you'll just absolutely decimate. It's when you get killed in that first turn because there's no scenery that's the problem. So,
well, I think the good thing for me as an Imperial Fist person, my chapter tactic is that they ignore cover.
Yeah.
So I tend to like put like stalker bolters on my guys and stuff like that, so they can still hit people with efficiency. Or when I take my Hellblasters and stuff, even if you're hiding your tank behind cover, it doesn't really matter. They just ignore cover. So I think that's a really good tactic of the Imperial Fist.
Marty Milligan. So Elsa Nation's joined us. I'm just going to refresh because Marty has added a question on the forum apparently.
Oh, cool.
There's a few. Oh wow. Okay, there's a bunch of questions. So Sam, can we have a quick chat about the next 40k Primarchs? Could a return of someone like Sanguinius be on the level of the Chaos Demon Primarchs? I think the Imperium will need something equal power-wise. So,
I actually made a video about this because there was a live stream of one of the designers, and he said that Sanguinius is in a bad way. But thinking back on it, I think that's just a British way of saying he's dead, because I always say it sometimes. Oh yeah, he's in a bad way when talk about someone who's dead. And I personally wouldn't want Sanguinius to come back, because I think his story arc. If you've read up to date of the Horus Heresy books, I think the latest one was Runestorm, which featured Sanguinius. Then you'll understand what the sacrifice Sanguinius went through, and I think if he was brought back in 40k, I think it would cheapen that storyline, and in a way, it wouldn't really make his storyline make any sense. If they wanted to bring back another Primarch, even though I'm a huge Dawn fan, I would love the Lion to come back, because the way his personality is, it's just so funny, especially with Guilliman as well. Because again, if you've read up to date with the Horus Heresy, there's so much bickering between them two in the Horus Heresy. It's fantastic. So if he came back and he saw 40k as it is, and he saw Guilliman as more or less the de facto emperor as he is now,
just a quick slap.
It'd be absolutely hilarious. I'd love it.
And Russ, obviously, when Russ comes back.
Yeah. Well, I think if Russ came back, I don't think he'd really care if Gilliman's in charge. I think he's just if Gilliman just lets him fight. I think that's what Russ is about. Just let me fight, and he'll be gone. But
the Lion and Russ, the two of those two will just. Be
that's true. Yeah, that is true. I think that'd be quite good to see them come back. I think if the Lion came back, he'd be like Wolfen, changed a bit. That's what mine would be on anyway. I don't think he'd come back like normal Demon Russ. I think he'd come back a bit altered.
Yeah. He's been in the warp for far too long. But you could say the same to, I think, most of the Primarchs.
Yeah, I think Corrix went there, right? Corix was like Nevermore, and he flew off. The Khan got sucked into the webway, and apparently, there's a new book come out. From I think it was Rob McPhee or something, if I'm not mistaken. And there's a full company of White Scars that have gone into the webway to search for the Khan, and that's in the up-to-date 8th edition lore as well. So I'm wondering, are they hinting that maybe the Khan may be found and brought back? Who knows?
they're the two. I mean, the two that I'm most interested in coming back is the Khan and the Lion. So whichever one of those two comes back first will be the beginning of a new army, I think, for me in 8th edition. But
for me, I just love looking at the models. I know a lot of people complain about Gilliman's model, saying, "Oh, he looks so different from the Horus Heresy model." And I was like, "Well, I want it to be different because if it's just the same, then what's the point in getting the new one? I just go to the Forge World one. I want it to be completely different. I want them to have different design methods on them. So I would love to see what the Lion would look like in 40k, and Russ and Khan, because I know what Khan looks like in 30k. So I would love to see what it looks like in 40k. Yeah.
With a massive toolbar thing, it's just going to be insane. Like that's what I want. I'm not a huge fan of all the bikes. I know that's going to be a little bit like heresy talking about white scars and saying you're not a fan of the bikes, but I kind of like the idea of just really fast moving jump pack based white scars rather than all on bikes. But
what about jet bikes? Well, with the hover technology coming back, I could see a lot of hover tech maybe for the scars. I think that might be cool.
I didn't have to sell a kidney for each bike, then I would definitely do a jet bike based army, but they're just too expensive. They're like 30, 40 pounds each, aren't they, or something? Yeah,
it's I think some of the Forge World stuff is just madness, and I think that's one of the reasons why I went off it a bit. Is that some of the prices? I know it's Forge World, I know it's resin, but when I'm seeing some of the 40k stuff that's coming out, and then I'm seeing some of the 30k stuff coming out, it's what I'm getting for my money. It's like, oh, I'd just rather play 40k. It's cheaper, and it's in some cases it looks more better designed.
Well, it's like you say, I actually prefer plastic stuff. I know a lot of people don't, but they go together better. I don't really like working with resin at the best of times. It's more expensive, and the detail is just as good on plastic now. In the past, there used to be a huge variation in quality over the plastic kits, and the resin was always superior quality. Whereas now, you go in, you look around Forge World, when you go to Warhammer World, you look in the cabinets and you just go, yeah, that's all really nice models, but it's just as good as the plastic kits now. They've got to such a level now where I don't think the resin is worth that extra price point, which it is at the minute.
Yeah, some of the latest stuff that's coming out of GW plastic wise, I think it's a joy to assemble. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times on my Twitter or my streams and stuff like that. It's like the Redemptor Dreadnought. It's probably one of my funniest kits I've ever built, because the way like all the arms move and you can click them out and pull them out and stuff like that. It's so fun. And I actually got to speak to the designer at the Warhammer Open Day about it, and he was like, yeah, the way GW are coming to us to say to design these things, they want it like all these interchangeable locks and pull everything out, and he said for me as a designer it's great. So I'm really looking forward to see where they go in the future with all their designs and stuff. Hopefully more Primarchs stuff. I know a lot of people rage about that, but hopefully more Primarchs.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've still got the Redemptor to build. I've not done it for the Black Dragons, but I am very tempted to. I'm very tempted to do this White Scar army that I've got in my head, and I'm thinking I might even just save a bunch of the models like the Redemptor and the Apothecary and the Chaplain and things like that to put in the White Scar force instead. We have got interference on you. Reaper's just said.
How is it?
Well, it's just a bit laggy, I think. It's not. I can still hear you, but it's definitely not as clear as it was.
Oh, okay. I'll check if I'm downloading anything. I don't think so.
Check if I'm downloaded. Just like automatically.
I'll just turn off Steam.
Tech priests.
Yeah, I'll just turn Steam off just in case.
Yeah, Valrak's voice seems to have got distorted by Slaanesh noisy voice. Valrak is warped. I'm reading chat from 2 different areas. Let me see what we've got. Let's try and catch up a little bit.
Donate for a new microphone for Valrak. Yeah, okay.
Don't. More microphone. Else Nation Heresy Fluff is a really interesting subject, as the Primarchs are crazy smart, but their decisions can be driven by childish emotions, i.e. jealousy, father's not paying me much attention, etc. And I think that's their flaw, isn't it? They've got these huge bonuses and strengths, but their weakness is just so stupid sometimes that you're just like, wow, how can you be that intelligent but that stupid at the same time?
I think some of the 30k lore for me is laughable. Like, some of the Primarchs who like went to join Horus, it's like Perturabo, he got mad because he couldn't build roads. I'm like, come on, mate, you're a Primarch, you can't be doing this. And of course, there's other things, but mainly he just wanted to build stuff. It's like, come on. I think it's just plot armor at the end of the day. Just okay, this guy needs to turn. Let's turn.
I think we've said a lot now. It's still going. I mean, everyone's saying a lot of stuff. 0111001.
I might maybe have to like reconnect to
That's cool.
this voice thing. So if you just give me a second, I'll just try
No
that
problem.
real quick.
I'll try and read up the chat. Graham Rigg, Lionel Johnson, Galactic Hide and Seek Champion. That's quite good. Sanguinius will come back as a bloodthirster, says Achaya. I can't wait to see Perturabo. No, it's going to be amazing. I think Achaya is going to start a new army with that. Carmen, buy the bikes on eBay. Yeah, I do like supporting Forgeworld though, and I've bought stuff on eBay in the past and it's not proper resin, and I don't really agree with China cast and stuff. So if I can't afford it, I just don't buy it. So that's generally my thoughts. If they bring out plastic jet bikes, then I'll 100% do a White Scar bike army. But until the prices are less than £40 a bike or whatever it is, you just can't do an army. Like even 1,000 points, you need to invest like £300 or £400 or £500 or something just to do 1,000 points of White Scars on bikes. But I could, the other way around it is just to do a big infantry force, so everything on foot with a couple of jet bikes here and there. But again, it's one that's later on down the line, and when they bring out the Khan, I could probably do that. Right, I'm just looking at Discord because that's where we're on chat today, and all I can see is Valrak's sent a picture of his face. Are you back now, Valrak?
I think back. Hello?
Yes, you're back, and you're not sounding like a robot. So
there we go then. It works. Yes. The tech priest has been silenced on my end.
Very good.
I actually just did a quick restart of the computer real quick. So
that was fast.
Hopefully that fixed it. SSDs, they're a way to go if you're a gamer. You have to do this.
Andrew Buxton says Sam does look like a young Jericho tonight. So somebody say I look like Jerry. Oh, Patrick. Why does that bloke in the bubble look like Chris Jericho? Chris Jericho, the wrestler, or is there another? I'm going to have to Google this now.
I haven't watched wrestling since Stone Cold Steve Austin, so I don't know if this is a new or old one. Those are the days.
I mean, I've been called many things, but Chris Jericho is not one of them. And Carmen's just donated. What has he said now? Let's load it up. Tech Priest Valrak, I have a question from One Mind Syndicate. If the 40k orcs could get a new god, should they? If yes, what would it be? Example, Torque, aka Torque, god of speed. That's amazing. It should be Torque. I think you've answered that yourself, but what do you think, Valrak?
Oh, if you got a new... I'm not too sure. I would actually like to see the orcs get a chaos god. Like, I know, I think it was like Rogue Trader era where they found like an idol and they thought it was Gork and Mork, but it was to Nurgle and they worshipped it and they became like all Nurgle-y kind of orcs. I thought that was pretty fun. But I don't know, maybe Khornate orcs. I think that might be pretty amazing. Skulls for the Skull Throne, I think would fit them pretty well.
They're just drowned. They're basically red orcs. They stained in blood.
That'd be amazing. I'd probably collect that armor.
Well, I think you need to start it now. You kind of started it.
I need to green stuff. I need to learn how to green stuff.
You just slap it onto the model and hope it looks good. All right.
Yeah, I've tried that. It didn't turn out the best. Like, okay, I'll do this. Oh no, it's turned out horrible.
What is this? It's just made flubber. The thing with green stuff I found is patience is the main thing. Like when I started using the stuff, I was so impatient and I just kept chucking bits of green stuff on top of green stuff and then trying to mold it, and it doesn't work. But you build it up in stages. So you put like the core on, let that dry, then you build up some more like detail, and then you let that dry, and then you start adding the final bits of detail. And if it takes days to actually build it up, but if you do it in stages over multiple units at a time, or just a little project on the side, that's generally where I've managed to make it work. But if I rush it, it never works. I
don't think that would work for me. I'm just so impatient. I'm one of the most impatient people I've ever met. It's like I need to do this now and now. And
sounds very familiar. Like, nope. This was my problem. That was why I could never be bothered. You just need to learn to forget the model that you're working on. So you just start it, then put it aside, completely wipe it from your mind, and start something else, and then come back to it. And you just got to try and get into the habit of having a really bad memory, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Surreal, did you know? I bet I know more about Nottingham than the people who live there. I used to live in Ilkeston, which is round the corner from Nottingham. So, but you still probably did know more than me, to be fair. Pink is saying, Sam, don't you have Vindicares in your fluffy Custodes army? Yeah, needed some long range because the rest of the Custodes army is 5 units of 5 Custodes Guard, which have to run and hit you with their spears. So there's no long range in the army. So
I actually wanted to really make a Custodian army. I bought 30 of them. I think I went a bit overboard when Battle of Prospero came out. I was like buying sprues off like Heresy Trading and stuff. And they were actually pretty good in 7th because they're deep striking. But when 8th came out, they took the deep striker away. So I was like, oh, just ruined my full army tactic. I don't really put these guys anymore. I think they're awesome to look at. I think they're amazing models. I love the models. That's why I'm really hoping with this Captain General coming out, maybe they'll get a couple of rules changes or maybe a transport, just a bigger transport. I'd like instead of the Land Raider, so I can just fit more guys in.
Vicious Fishes has put 01001. You've come back a bit very butty. I think it's not too bad.
I've gone back again. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Maybe you've got, you definitely, I mean, you said you've just been and beat up that Tech Marine, but he's still there. He's still kicking.
I'll check my...
Custodes, I mean, that was one of the things. My first game of 8th edition, I didn't realise they took away Deep Strike, so I played against Phil's son, Jack, and Deep Striked my entire army onto his Lehman Russ gun line and battered him, and then afterwards was like, oh, I don't have Deep Strike, maybe I should take that back. But
I was so upset when they did that. I was like, I actually built them all in like one evening. I was like, yes, and then 8th edition came out. I was like, what? No Deep Strike? Oh no! I think I ended up selling some of them to Vicious. He bought some for his armor.
What'll be annoying is if they end up, when the Custodes book comes out and the Codex is released, they'll probably put it back in. And then, you've tailored your army to buy Land Raiders to get around it now, and then they'll just go say, oh, you can have Deep Strike again, which changes it one more time.
Nope. GW wins again.
Yeah, every time. Patrick saying, someone but Sam Jericho a bike. I imagine that's buy. Somebody buy Sam Jericho a bike. Do a lion tamer on your pillow. If you agree. What? I'm so confused. Valrak sounds like a Tech Marine from Texie.
I think if you give me 1 second, I'll try and... I've got 2 microphones, so
okay.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll try and switch over to my other microphone to see if that works. I'm always prepared.
I'm hoping it's not my internet. If people can let me know if it's both of us or just Valrak, because my internet just play up from time to time. Let me get down to some of this chat. Nick Davidson finally caught a live stream first time in ages. Valrak's got the obliterator virus from Liam. And my chat's just skipped so many times. So Vicious Fishes has just put, for Valrak, I just finished your 6 golden boys off. And then Blood Company, does Valrak have an opinion on Chaos possibly getting new troop units? Instead of getting a version of Primaris, maybe they get those mutants from Bile. Okay, it's just Valrak. But the chat lags as well. That's interesting, Ralph. The chat is definitely laggy between YouTube and the streaming thingy that we use, but that's normal. It normally is a bit of a delay. Just Valrak with his Dark Mechanicum scrap code. Wow, it's almost 10 o'clock already.
Okay, I don't know if this is any better at all.
Yeah, sounds good again.
Okay, is this one working? I'm not too sure.
Sound perfectly fine on my end.
There we go. Sorry guys, I don't know what is going on. I'm checking my internet. It's not my internet at all, so it might be just Discord we're using on my end. It's just infected scrap code. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. We've got a question from Blood Company for you saying, do you have an opinion on Chaos possibly getting new troop units? Instead of getting a version of Primaris, maybe they get those mutants from Bile.
I'm not really a big Chaos player. None of the stuff's really caught my eye at all. If I had one opinion, I would hate for them to get Primaris because I think it would take away a lot of the specialness about Space Marines having Primaris. I'd rather they went another route where maybe they got something Primaris kind of gene seed and, like you said, mutant kind. But I really wouldn't want it to be just Primarchs with spiky bits on them.
No, I think they've got to be something. I mean, the Death Guard, they've obviously got a Primaris scaled miniatures now, but they're not Primaris. They've just been chaosified. They've been souped up, kind of like what you were saying with Orcs. If they got a Chaos version of Orcs, they'd just be giant, hulked over, crazy looking Orc things.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't really want them to do like a one-on-one. Okay, this is Primaris, and they have skulls on their shoulders and spikes now. I'm hoping they're a bit more imaginative than that. But I think Chaos, their power really, I would see where it lies in the warp. So maybe if they got like more demons or better kind of demons to add to their army, or something like that, rather than just Primaris with spiky bits.
Yeah, absolutely. We have from Texi saying, I think it's important to tell Valrak that if he was an Ultramarine like he would not be lagging as bad through his microphone.
No, I wouldn't be lagging, I'd be dead. Like Calf. Everyone on Calf, I'd just be dead.
It's still too soon, you can't talk about Calf.
Silly Ultramarines.
You know what? First Heretic, I know I talk about First Heretic, but what was the other one? It might have just been Battle for Calf. Those 2 books turned it around for me for Word Bearers. I hated Word Bearers, and then once I started seeing them kicking Ultramarines, I was like, oh, they're not actually that bad. And I've never hated Ultramarines, but I just didn't have so much hatred for the Word Bearers at that point. I don't know what it was.
I actually really like the Ultramarines, like 30k and 40k. I think it's just GW's fault because they use them in everything so much, and it's like, no, GW, stop this.
I don't know. I think they used to be all over Games Workshop. Now it's more like Space Wolves. I think Space Wolves are... Everybody has a Space Wolf army. Ultramarines are kind of a little bit more... Well, they were more of a niche army until Guilliman was released, and now everybody has Guilliman in some way in their army. So there's a lot more Ultramarine armies out. But I think once the rest of the Primarchs start getting released, people who stick with Ultramarines will be the ones that are going to be the Puritans. Everybody else is just there for the Primarch.
I hope Lehman Russ comes back and changes the colour scheme back to that grey of the Space Wolves. I hate the baby eyes blue. I don't like that at all. I love like that grey kind of whatever it is.
Mechanicus standard grey. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
It is. That's all
I love that colour. I'm not a fan of the baby blue at all.
Yeah, and it's really easy to paint as well. You just spray them now with the Mechanicus standard grey spray and then cover them in Norn oil and you're done. Maybe a dry brush if you feel like you want to give them a bit more work.
That's what I tend to do my Executioners. Just primer in black. What's it called? Lead Belcher spray. Norn oil. Done. That's it. Easy.
Right. Gungasm says you're lower quality, but you're not so staticky. So the problem is with your new mic, boss. So that was...
It may very well be. I'll do some tests tonight.
Yeah, it was fine at the beginning. It was only halfway through it started going staticky. So it could just be a dodgy connection or something. It's technology in it. It's wonderful. Reaper has said, Valrak, what is your opinion on Blood Ravens?
I think they're okay. I enjoyed them in the video game. I love... That was a really cool, but Dawn of War 3 didn't do that good for him. I thought. They're cool. I'm not really a fan of the actual model they got on Forge World, Gabriel Seth.
No,
I actually don't really like that. I think his face is weird. The armor he's in, I know it's trying to be like, I think it's like Cataphracts in the armor, but it just, I don't know, like the scale of it seems a bit off. But I'm hoping maybe they get a bit more lore. I think it's good if they do get more lore and get introduced into the actual storyline, because maybe then some companies can come forward with more writers and start doing more chapters and stuff like that, which is good for me because I absolutely love the lore.
That's good. Right. There is no Dawn of War 3. Right.
That's true.
I'm going to go through some quick questions because we'll come to 10 o'clock. So I know I said we'll do an hour, but I'm going to quickly go through these and we'll try and get some answers from you. So, what is your favourite Primaris model so far out of all the kits?
I'd probably say the Gravis Captain. I like him the best. But, sorry, the Gravis Captain without the hood on. I cut the hood off mine.
Yeah.
I think it looks a bit more brutal that way. I actually do like that. Yeah, he's cool.
That's interesting. I thought you'd have gone for the Redemptor.
I enjoyed it assembling the Dermter, but I don't know well, my captain I've got, I just love looking at him. I think he's just so cool. He's not fat. Everyone calls him fat. He's not fat. He's just a Primarchs.
He's just well armoured.
He is. Extra layers.
Okay, so who is the greatest Primarch and why?
Of course, Rogal Dawn, because he was always there for the Emperor, no matter what. Come thick or thin, he was always there. He wasn't like Horus, starting rebellions. He wasn't like Sanguinius crying all the time. He was always at the Emperor's side.
He did get a little bit stroppy at, what's his name? The Death Guard character, though. Which I didn't like. I instantly was like, you're just not nice, Dawn.
Oh, Garrow, when he slapped him? When he said Horus was a traitor, and it's just, that's just Dawn being Dawn.
Dawn being Dawn. It's like stubborn, and then when he says it, and somebody doesn't listen to him, he's like, whoa, you got to listen to me. Like, I tell the truth. Can't listen to anybody else.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene.
Coleman, I'm beginning to suspect we won't be discussing AOS tonight. No, I think we could have a whole new show on AOS, to be fair. We've not even got through 30k or 40k, to be fair.
That is true.
Let's do... this was an interesting one. So, you've got a choice. You can either work with a traitor legionary to save a planet, and the side text to that is you can't just kill the traitor and do the mission and save the planet by yourself. Or you exterminatus the planet and wipe out millions of innocents. So what would you choose out of those two?
Always Juta. Exterminates the planet. You have sworn an oath never to go near these traitors. Always kill everyone. That's it. Hey,
even if just working with one traitor would save millions. Okay.
That's weakness. It's weakness.
Never give you power. You know you're going to get control of.
That is true. That is true. Everyone dies.
If you could only play one Warhammer-based video game for the next 5 years, what would you choose?
I would like to say EC, but can I add if there's a decent population in that said game? Because that's a problem at the moment. If a certain game had a big population, I would probably play Battlefleet Gothic because I enjoyed that one the most. But the thing that knocked me off that is like no one plays online anymore. Mm-hmm. So if that got the play base back, I play that all the time. I love that game.
Perfect. Reaper's going right now, so see you later, Reaper.
See you later.
Another donation from Carmen, who says,
"Of course,
Empress Wolves chapter. Don't wear blue. Just saying. Sorry for interrupting your question segment. Don't worry, Carmen. And, there you go. You could do Emperor's Wolves chapter in 40k. Or you could just do them in the Heresy colour scheme and say they've just come out of the warp and they haven't bothered to change their armour. That's the other option.
Isn't the Emperor's Wolves Aaron Gremsky Bowden's chapter? His girlfriend said, I want to make this chapter, so he just wrote it in the law officially, so it was a proper chapter. I think they were like purplish or pinkish or something.
It sounds like something you would do if you had power. I mean...
It would. I would create many things.
It's a perk of the job, yeah. That's going to happen anyway. You don't even
Sons
need to
of
work
Valrak
for them for that.
Would be the best chapter ever in the Imperium.
Daryl's saying, Valrak, you should read The Beast Arises, then your noble Imperial Fists worked with Iron Warriors. Oh dear.
Actually, I read the Beast Arises series. It wasn't the Imperial Fists, it was the Fist Exemplar, and it was only a company of them, and they end up turning traitors, so screw those guys.
Okay. So they weren't Imperial?
No, they weren't Imperial Fists. I won't spoil what happened to the Imperial Fists in that, because it was quite brutal. But, yeah. Okay,
apparently those Space Wolves are black, red and grey. There you go.
Ah, cool.
And Andrew's saying, Total War, Warhammer 2, if I had a graphics card that could deal. Patrick sent me a copy of Total War, Warhammer 2, or just Total Warhammer 2, and it was really good. I got beat quite a bit. We played some multiplayer games with people who had more hours worth of play than me, and it was good. It just kill your PC a little bit if you haven't got a good graphics card, because mine was just dying and struggling to do anything.
Yeah, I love that game. Enjoyed it. Every time I played multiplayer, though, everyone ganged up on me. I couldn't win at all. Everyone just went for me, just so they were famous on the stream. It's like, that's it. I'm not playing this on stream anymore.
It's not worth the defeat.
Yep. It's embarrassing getting smashed every game.
Acharya, with the fall of Cadia, have all the Black Templars now been wiped out? No, Black Templars are everywhere. Literally everywhere all over the galaxy. You cannot wipe them out.
Yeah, you can't take Black Templars out. I'm hoping they get a codex soon.
They deserve one. There's enough of them, and they're so different to the rest of the Astartes that they could definitely get away with their own codex.
You can do so many good things with that, and I'd love to start a chapter or a little strike force or something of them. I'd do it.
I think you need to do it now.
Yeah.
You've committed. I've got one final question, which is, what part of the hobby as a whole is your most enjoyable part out of all of it? So including, let's take gaming out of it and anything else.
For me, where I'm at, this is a hard one. I'd say actually just reading the lore. I'm if anything out of everything in 40k, and this is even including gaming, I'm attached to the lore the most. So the books and just reading about it and just learning new story. I love everything about the lore. That's what suckers me in every time and just keeps me going with the hobby. And with 8th edition, where they've started the new storyline now as well. It's even better. I know some people who are my friends who dislike it, but for me, I love this new setting where we're at and the big rift and everything and all the stuff that's happening. It's just great. I love it all.
That's awesome. It powers everything else as well. Like you can suddenly do every other part of the hobby. Even like you know how most of the hobby is based on your imagination and what you want to create. Being backed up by lore just enhances that even more.
Yep, exactly. I love it.
Acharya, I have a GTX 780, the most powerful graphics card on the market today. Acharya doesn't do anything by small measures. Like we were at Warhammer World with him recently, and he walked over with like an arm of a Titan. I was like, "Why have you bought that?" He's like, "Oh, it's to go with the rest of the Warlord." I'm like, "Geez, you never even said that. You just got a Warlord baby at home waiting to be like souped up." And he bought 3 of the big tanks. What are they called? They're really
the Fellblades?
Yeah, it might be Fellblades. They're really nice tanks. And he bought 3 of them because one wasn't enough.
Holy Emperor, okay.
And now he's got a GTX 780. I don't even know what my card is. It's not that powerful.
Well, I've got a 980 Ti. I was actually going to get a 1080 Ti and upgrade, but the thing about PC gaming and stuff is like as soon as you buy something, it's out of date with like a week. So I'm just going to wait till next year because they've got these brand new processors coming out. If anyone is up to date with that stuff, you probably know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to wait for that.
I'm not up to date. I only played Warcraft on my PC, and that's all I needed the PC to do is just to play that. But nowadays, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should try some other games out rather than just that, because that game drains your life.
Well, I used to be a huge Warcraft player. I still am. I still play it now for the story. I'm waiting for this new expansion. So that's going to be cool.
It just takes too much time. Like, I don't think there's a way to play casually. Every time I go back to it, I'm like, I'm just going to do casual raiding or maybe just PvP. And then I just lose 6 months of my life without realising.
You wake up in your underwear for the 4 days, just not move, going, I need to finish this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Horrendous. And then when you're sitting at home trying to do tutorials and stuff, you don't need another distraction, so it's just not worth starting it.
Yep, I can understand that.
There's a lot of chat about PCs now. Whoever asked that question needs a slap. Which question was that? Oh, wipe out the Black Templars. Yeah. You just can't wipe them out, Vicious. You just can't do it. I'm just going to double check because I'm sure there was more on the forum just to see if there's any more questions. And I think we could probably wrap up. So we have...
Okay.
Valrak. So you know how Marty asked about the Chaos Demon Primarchs coming back. Reaper's put in response, Valrak has a few videos on it. So if anybody wants more information on anything to do with Primarchs or 40k or lore-based stuff, head over to the channel. I'll definitely put a link in the description. I know it's a bit late now, but I'll put it in the description and anybody watching this back can go and check it out.
Thanks.
This is Marty, should Abaddon or Abaddon, I'd never get it right, game-wise be equal to the likes of a Guilliman? If you read Talon of Horus or Black Legion, it certainly seems he is more powerful than perhaps the current 40k makes out, or I've just misread his rules.
Well, I think lore-wise, where he is now, like during the Talon of Horus and the Black Legion books, he's kind of at the start of his power, but now he's got like what's his sword called, Drakkar or something like that. So yeah, so if anyone knows the lore behind what that sword is, and if you've read the Emperor of Mankind or stuff like that, then you'll know how crazy powerful that weapon is. So I can see him being that level. I know he's got like all the blessing of the Primarchs and the Chaos Gods, so he can be absolutely brutal. I just feel a bit sorry for people who want to play him because his model is so old. Like if you look at his model, I was 100% going with that he would get a new model when the Chaos book came out, and I was so surprised that he never got one.
I thought when they brought out the Triumvirates, I was 100% I'd have put money on the fact that one of those triumvirates was going to have a Baden in it, but it didn't. And I was like, wow, they really are neglecting chaos a little bit here.
I think for me, I'm just, that puts me in a mindset if they got something else planned like next year, where they're going to be bringing something else out, so they don't want to put everything out. This is where my mind goes to. It's like, oh, maybe something else is coming. I just start thinking, what could be coming.
I mean, I'm all for Chaos getting more stuff because I think they need it. However, I think Age of Sigmar needs to. What I'm not liking at the minute is the amount of sub games that Games Workshop's going into while not. And me and Pink have discussed this about not wrapping them up a little bit. So they've released 8th edition, they've done a few codexes, and then we've got to wait till probably the end of next year for everybody to get an update. And then you've got Age of Sigmar, which is in a worse state. It's been out for longer. They've only done a few of the armies. Elves haven't even been touched. And there's no proper human. I mean, you've got Sigmar, but there's no Empire. There's no Bretonnians. There's no humans. You've pretty much got a variation of dwarves and Sigmar. And that's pretty much it. So I think rather than bring in things like Storm, what was the latest? Shadespire and Blood Bowl and all these other games and Necromunda. I wish they just focused on 40k and Sigmar and properly nailed them first before expanding.
Yeah, well, maybe they might do next year. I haven't really been following Age of Sigmar at all. Like when we spoke before on the stream, like nothing's really caught my eye in Sigmar. I was a huge Bretonnia fan, so unless like we get like a kind of knightly kind of army with horses and that kind of stuff, I don't think I'm really going to be sold on Sigmar. But hopefully we'll get something like that soon.
I think that's the thing. There's just not enough. There's only, you can count the armies pretty much on one hand that are worth picking up at the moment or that have had some love. And with 40k, 8th edition kind of reset everything. So every army was viable again. And the codex are now putting more into it. But I think Age of Sigmar just needed a little bit more of a push, and their lore could have had a bit more done to it as well. So hopefully when all of that comes in line, the two games will be amazing. Andrew Buxton saying, leave Blood Bowl alone. I've got nothing against Blood Bowl, Necromunda, Shadespire, any of that. All I'm saying is Age of Sigmar 40k are like the main ones that they've been pushing for years or whatever. Maybe get them so everybody can play all the different armies rather than bringing out a new game every 2 or 3 months to focus on. But that's just my thoughts.
What GW need to do, they need to just drop everything and focus on making more Primaris Marines. Just go fully on Primaris. Ignore every other race, Xeno race, everything. Just more Primaris Marines, please. And
maybe that's how they do them. They just Primarisize everything. That's a new word now. Primarisize Eldar. Dark Eldar. Maybe that's where the Khan is. Maybe he's actually, the Eldar have picked him up from the warp and they're just chilling at the moment in some side room somewhere, just having a party, and the Khan's like just chilling out. He'll turn up when he feels like it.
Yeah, be awesome.
You can see that. What chat? So I think that's it for questions. I wish they had a weekly new model sculpt. Yeah, and I think they're at the stage now. We were saying just before the chat, weren't we, that everything they release is amazing. I don't think anybody can disagree with the stuff that's coming out being anything other than awesome. So I think it's just ramping it up even more. And, it's easy for me to say bring out more stuff as quickly as possible. But they're bringing out more than they ever did. Like there's so many more releases every other week now that, I shouldn't really complain. It's just because I've seen the quality and I want more of it for everything.
Oh yeah, if there's one thing you can't complain about, even with Age of Sigmar, like when I go to Warhammer World and I've been lucky enough to go obviously in the big display area and look around all the stuff. All the models are just amazing. There's not one model where I've looked at and gone, that's horrible. Every last one of them has just been knocked out of the park.
Yeah, so it's just crossing your fingers and hoping that your stuff's coming out next. That's pretty much it.
Well, apparently the elves are supposed to be coming soon because if you want to believe the rumors, they released like a long bit of hair in the rumor engine. I know they don't make sense, but everyone's going, "Oh, it's elves for Sigmar, elves for Sigmar." So if it is elves, it's going to be kind of cool to see how they actually approach them and do them, make them different.
Yeah, I think every other project that I've got started will just pause while I do elves for a bit, and that's it. Andrew's put, we waited 14 months for 12 elf figures for Blood Bowl, and that's true as well. Well, at least you got elves before anybody in Age of Sigmar, Andrew. That's always a good thing. And Vicious is saying we can thank CAD for these releases. We definitely
That's true. Yep, CAD is amazing.
Instead of new sculpts, so Furious George, instead of new sculpts, they should bring back the original look Necrons.
I actually did prefer the old Necron lore. like where now they're like British villains with mustaches. I'm like, yes. Where the old ones are just like
scary.
mindless zombies. Yeah.
No, that's true. Ralph is saying, I disagree on that. GW needs entry drugs to pull in new players. Sigmar is friendlier than 40k, but still a pretty big hurdle for new players. So I suppose that is true. For me, who's already lost my soul, as Valrak puts it, and Valrak who's lost his soul, and they're in Goldfish Bowls on Games Workshop shelf, things like Necromunda and Blood Bowl and Shadespire might not necessarily be needed, but for new players, I can definitely see what you mean by that. It brings people into the game. They only need to invest a small amount to actually play, and then after that they can go into the bigger armies and delve a little bit further into the lore. So that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think. Well, I do think they've actually been doing a pretty good job with these like get started kits. I think they've been pretty selling pretty good. I think they've put a nice bit of units in them as well.
Definitely. They've never done price, have they, like that before?
Yeah,
value,
that's true.
should I say. Value's so much better than it ever used to be. I think they're just listening to the community more, which can never be a bad thing. Felhate, I'd start Sigmar if they bring Dark Elves. Yeah, they definitely need to. I mean, Malarian's still on the horizon. I'm waiting for the giant Dark Elf Dragon merge to happen. Gungazam don't like Age of Sigmar's lore. Yeah, I think they've opened it up. They need to flesh it out. And, you know, if they just copied Heresy in a way and had some big figures with a little bit more of a personality to them or something, that would be good. And I did see a rumour that some of the Sigmar warriors were basically going to turn against Sigmar and effectively become part of Chaos. So they'd have a heresy of their own, which would be pretty good, if not copying a slight bit.
That'd be hilarious.
Furious Judge, when does episode 1 of the podcast drop? Me and so Pink's been busy at work, and I've been busy. The dog had to go to the emergency vets on Sunday, and then Monday, and then again. I've had appointments for stuff as well, so it's been difficult to plan time to actually sit and do the podcast. So I don't know when it's actually going to be coming out. Me and Pink are basically trying to arrange a couple of hours where we can film it, and then I can just edit it and get it out as soon as possible. So no definite time for you, unfortunately, George, but we will try. Daryl saying, a rumour I heard is that an Age of Sigmar End Times equivalent is coming in the new year, a big pushback against Sigmar's reconquest of the Mortal Realms. As long as they don't end Sigmar and redo it all, that's cool. Carmen,
they do that again.
Khan sitting still, heresy. Yeah, I suppose he never sits. He does sit still a little bit. In Scars, he did sit around quite a bit while he was chatting away, saying he's never going to sit still while he was sitting. I don't know. It's a bit weird. Carmen again, a small loan of your entire family fortune should get you into the game. That's true. And Ralph, I'm not saying anything about AOS lore because I can't. At Carmen, get a sponsor. Okay, so I think we'll pretty much call it here. It's 20 past 10, so it's definitely longer. So first things first, massive thanks to Valrak for joining me and everybody on the stream. So really, really awesome. It's been an enjoyable hour and 20 minutes, and thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thank you for bringing me over. Do it again anytime.
Yeah, more than welcome to come.
Yeah, I do. I just love having these chats, to be fair. So if anyone wants me, just give me a nudge and I'll be there to speak about anything.
Awesome. And we could probably focus on different topics as well. We've kind of done a bit of everything tonight, just chatting away, but we could focus it, and we could have in-depth conversations about certain topics if people want that. Use the forum. Whenever we put up a show, I think we're going to try and put it on the forum so you can leave questions and topics for us to talk about. So we'll do that in future. Other than that, thank you to everybody who's donated this evening. Vicious Fishes, Carmen, and Echo. I don't think there were many others. Let me just double check. I don't want to miss anybody. That's the only problem. No. I've just got a long list of Carmen with his updates, as basically his chat is all a donation. So thanks again to everybody for that. And thanks again to everybody who has joined us on this chat. I know we don't do regular Wednesday ones. I think Phil's trying to do more of these and get more people on. Other than that, have a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll see you over the weekend, I believe. Chapter Master Valrak, so how long until my check comes in the mail? We'll talk about it. Right, I need to figure out how to end this again.
I can do it. I can do it right now. So thank you for letting me come. And yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. So see you soon.
Donation. Thanks for having me on.
Gaming, is it?
Yeah.
Of course it is.
It's
yeah. All right. Thanks,
Right.
lads. Thank you.
See you in a bit.
Bye bye.